a dozen of them. They're off. Seamus O'Neill sends them on their way for the Virgin Bet Rendlesham Hurdle, and they've got the thick end of half a mile before they arrive at the first of 12 scheduled flights. And Butch, with the maroon sleeves and cap, quite a well supported favourite late on, has a very slender early advantage to Botox Has against the running red in the white jackets. Red Risk under Bryony Frost, the light blue silks, tracks the leading pair towards the first turn. Then We're Cool, the grey, last year's winner, in fourth place ahead of Martha Bray, and Sounds Russian, after a lengthy spell on the sidelines, held up last of the six on his return as he resumes over hurdles. Butch leading them then away to the back straight, and they continue their progress to the first flight. Botox Has tracking the pace with Gary Moore and promising conditional Caoilin Quinn, who's unable to claim in this race, already among the winners on Merseyside this afternoon. Salver perhaps enhances his credentials for a tilt at the festival some 35 minutes or so ago. Botox Has, the Quinn Moore representative here. A close second at the first, at which Butch leads. Red Risk stalking the leading pair still. Then We're Cool, Sounds Russian in the spotted jacket, and Martha Bray in the red and green. On to the second, and Butch set a light going into that one, hurdled fluently and just extended his lead. Still very early days, however, going along at around the 27-28 mile an hour mark, so decent enough pace in pretty testing conditions over this long trip. And Butch and Sean Bowen set that gallop over Botox Has and Red Risk. We're Cool, Sounds Russian out wide, and Martha Bray the last to land over the last of the flights across in the Haydock back straight. Into the next turn they go. Another lengthy gallop now before they leave the ground again. And the next line of 3 flights await them before another complete circuit. Butch leading them left-handed over Botox Has. Red Risk close up. A small break to Sounds Russian, who's the shadow to We're Cool, and a slightly bigger break to Martha Bray, last of the 6-strong field. And Butch leads them into the last 2 miles of the race. Botox Has continues to be his closest pursuer. Red Risk held together in third by Bryony Frost. Sounds Russian now a clear fourth ahead of We're Cool, and Martha Bray last of the 6. Butch out flight 4, popped it neatly, as in truth did his 5 rivals, and they now approach the middle one up the straight. Butch leading, working from the rail across, Botox Has and Red Risk on the left, and the second half of the field led by Sounds Russian. Martha Bray's inching a bit closer, and We're Cool has just dropped himself back into last place, the 8-year-old grey under regular pilot Conor O'Farrell. Now it's the jumping done at the end of a circuit, and now another long run before they get to the first of flights over on the far side. And Butch and Sean Bowen in front by the better part of 3 lengths to Botox Has, who's got Red Risk right at his quarters. Couple lengths away to Sounds Russian, the spotted silks, in 4th place ahead of Martha Bray, who's just an advance of We're Cool. So 7 or 8 lengths covering the field, rounding the paddock turn. The pace has been fairly even one. Butch very briefly on the crown of the bend, just need a little encouragement to keep the concentration going. And Sean Bowen, to a large extent, has been allowed to do his own thing in front here on the favourite. Botox Has continues to stalk him. Red Risk a very close third. Then Sounds Russian, Martha Bray and We're Cool, all firmly in touch. Heading towards the 7th, and now inside the last 1.25 miles of this Grade 2 Virgin Bet Rendlesham Hurdle. And Butch has made all the running so far, leading Botox Has and Red Risk a very close third. And the other 3 are pretty much in a line. We're Cool just last of the half dozen, with Martha Bray and Sounds Russian in front of him, and Butch was arsed up there, just injected a bit of tempo at that flight, entering the last mile of the race. And he leads by a shade over 2 lengths. Botox Has and Red Risk continue to chase him. Small gap has developed once again to Sounds Russian. Then Martha Bray in the red jacket, and last year's winner were Cool. Last of the half dozen still at the last of the flights in the back straight. Butch over in front, asked for a little bit more now by Bowen. Botox Has continues to travel powerfully up the inner, and Bowen is more animated on Butch. And Botox Has just beginning to poke up on his inner going into the turn. Red Risk, now shaken up by Bryony Frost, is 4 lengths down. And Botox Has got a nice seam through on the inside of Butch, and Bowen is having to nudge away on the favourite here. Red Risk is hanging on to them in third. Sounds Russian back in fourth. Held together by Brian Hughes. He shaped well up to a point on his return. Martha Bray and Wakula struggling, and Botox Has at this stage, admittedly a long way out and still with 3 to jump, has travelled the strongest. Butch, however, is continuing to respond to Bowen's urging. There will be about a length between them going to 3 out in favour of Botox Has and Caoilin Quinn. So Botox Has just ahead. Butch, though, hasn't been shaken off. Red Risk has got a further 5 lengths to make up. At this stage, struggling to make inroads. And it's Botox Has leading Butch. Red Risk back in third, then Sounds Russian and Martha Bray. Here's the second last, Botox Has extending the lead. He's gone 4 clear now. From Butch and Red Risk, Martha Bray, Sounds Russian keeping on. Well, Cool continues, but is tailed off. Botox Has at the last, untidy, but he got over it with a lead bordering on half a dozen lengths, and now they've got the thick end of 200 metres to cover on the run in. And Botox Has, who's shown an affinity for Haydock in the past, is running on willingly here under Caoilin Quinn and Gary Moore, who are going to be at the double on Merseyside this afternoon, and they might not be finished yet. They've got a big prize one in the Grand National Trial to come. Botox Has probably sets himself up for the festival now. He runs out a ready winner of the Rendlesham. Butch in second, Martha Bray stuck to it in third, Red Risk just fourth. Encouraging return, I think, from Sounds Russian.
A fine double so far for this man, Caoilin Quinn and Gary Moore. Botox Has just won the Rendlesham Hurdle, and it looked fairly straightforward. Well done.
Yeah, it was. I was fairly confident coming in today. Last time, I don't think he quite stays 3 round Cheltenham.
Right.
Stiff 3. But he stays the 3 round here very well. Flat track. Loved the ground. He was fit perfect today. He was jumping, and you know, he's won cosy enough in the end.
He really has, hasn't he? And Wetherby, we saw him flat tracks. He just seems to relish, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He just sort of gets into that rhythm on a flat track. And you know, Sean, he tried to make it a good test on Butch, but I think I just had the class and a bit more speed than I'm turning in. You know, I'd say going to 3 out, I've put it to bed, and then he's just idled in front, but yeah, he's done it well.
And Salver, he likes this ground as well. He was very good in the Victor Ludorum.
He's a very good horse. Everything's so straightforward with him. He jumps so well for a 4-year-old. Travelled well, loves these conditions, and yeah, he's very good.
The ground's very important to him?
Very important, yeah. He's a big, strong horse. I'd say he just travels through it better than the rest of the 4-year-olds. But also, I think he's a very good horse.
You're flying along as well. Well done, long mate, last.
Thank you very much.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.